My girlfriend said she needed me to prove I was committed. Her ex said I had no right to question anything. And somehow I became responsible for a life I never agreed to build. I'm 31. My girlfriend, Mara, is 33. We had been together for almost 2 years. She has two children from a previous relationship, a daughter who is 7, a son who is 4. From the beginning, I knew dating Mara meant more than just dating one person. It meant school pickups sometimes, sick days sometimes, canceled plans sometimes, a calendar that could change in 5 minutes. I accepted that. I did not walk into it pretending her kids were background details. They were part of the picture. At first, that things were genuinely good. Mara was funny, warm, sharp, protective, the kind of woman who could make a normal Tuesday feel like something worth remembering. We went to small restaurants, took weekend drives, watched movies after the kids went to bed, talked about buying a house someday. I felt wanted, and I wanted her. But after the first year, the relationship started changing, or maybe the harder parts just became clearer. Mara was very emotional in ways I did not always know how to handle. If she felt hurt, she shut down. If she felt scared, she became sarcastic. If she felt ignored, she acted like I had done it on purpose. I would ask what was wrong, and she would say, "Nothing," then spend the rest of the night cold toward me. Sometimes I stayed and tried to talk. Sometimes I left because sitting in that tension for hours made me feel like I could not breathe. Leaving made her furious. She said it proved I was not committed. I said, "I am leaving because you will not talk to me." She said, "You leave whenever things get hard." I said, "No, I leave when I'm being punished for a problem you won't explain." That never went well. We got into a cycle, good weeks, then tension, then silence, then a long emotional conversation where I promised to be more reassuring. Then another good week, then the same thing again. I started feeling less like her partner and more like her emotional regulator. Reassure her, prove myself, stay calm, read the room, guess the problem, apologize before I understood what I had done. It was exhausting. The hardest part was that I loved her kids. I really did. I did not try to replace their father, but I showed up. I fixed bikes, made pancakes, helped with school projects, sat through cartoons that made no sense, kept snacks in my car because her son got carsick if he got hungry. So when Mara accused me of being half in, it hurt. Because if I were half in, I would not have let myself care that much. About 6 months ago, I tried to end things, not because I stopped loving her, because I was tired. Mara cried and said we were giving up too soon. She said the kids loved me. She said she knew she'd been difficult. She said she just needed consistency from me to feel safe. I believed her, or I wanted to. So we kept trying. For a while, it improved. Then her ex, Nolan, came back into the picture more heavily. He had always been around because of the kids, but suddenly he was calling more, stopping by more, needing favors more. Mara said it was just co-parenting. I accepted that at first. Then I started noticing she was telling him things before she told me: school issues, money problems, appointments, even things about our relationship. When I brought it up, she said, "He's their father. I can't just cut him out." I said, "I'm not asking you to cut him out. I'm asking why he knows things about us before I do." She said I was being insecure. Then came the pregnancy scare, not Mara's. Nolan's girlfriend was pregnant. At least, that was what Mara told me at first. Then the story shifted. Nolan and his girlfriend had broken up. Nolan was overwhelmed. Nolan needed help figuring out childcare for his other kids. Nolan was scared. Nolan did not have anyone else. I listened. Then Mara said something that made my stomach tighten. She said, "If he has another baby, it affects the kids, so it affects us too." I said, "No, it affects the kids. It does not automatically become my responsibility." She looked at me like I had said something cruel. A week later, I found out the truth. Nolan's girlfriend had left him. The baby was real, and Mara had already agreed to help him with the older kids more often after the baby came, without discussing it with me. That meant fewer weekends, more last minute changes, more emotional stress, more of me being expected to understand. I asked, "When were you planning to tell me?" She said, "I just did." I said, "No, you told me after the decision was already made." She said, "I can't abandon my children's father when this affects my children." I said, "You keep using the kids to make every decision untouchable." She got quiet. I said, "I love them, but loving them does not mean every crisis from your ex becomes my crisis too." She said, "Maybe you are not ready for a family." That one hit hard because I had been showing up for that family for 2 years. The real breaking point happened 2 weeks later. Mara asked me to watch the kids on a Saturday because Nolan needed her help. I already had plans. A close friend had entered a charity raffle event through his job, and I had promised to help him run the table. It was not glamorous, just data entry, tickets, receipts, names. But I had committed. Mara said Nolan's situation mattered more. I said, "My commitments matter too." She said, "You're choosing a raffle over my children." I said, "No, I'm choosing not to be the backup plan for every adult who fails to plan." She left the room. Then the silent treatment started. That night, I went to my friend's event anyway. While I was there, I noticed something strange. One name kept appearing again and again in the entries. Same person, same email, same small store listed on receipt after receipt. At first, I thought it was dedication. Then I noticed the timestamps. Same location, same day, sometimes minutes apart. It looked like someone working at the store was collecting customers' receipts and entering the contest under their own name. I told the organizer. They removed the entries. My friend said, "Good catch. That person was trying to game the system." For some reason, that sentence stayed with me because that was exactly how my life felt lately. Everyone wanted the benefit of my effort, but only when the rules favored them. Mara wanted me involved like a stepfather when help was needed, but not included like a partner when decisions were made. Nolan wanted support from a household he did not belong to, but none of the responsibility of respecting it. And I was expected to keep entering my time, energy, and patience into a system I was not allowed to question. When I got home, Mara was awake. She asked if I had a nice time avoiding responsibility. I did not argue. I just said, "I'm done being spoken to like a bad man every time I say no." She said, "You walked away again." I said, "Yes, because staying has started to mean accepting every accusation quietly." She said, "You know what my fear is?" I said, "I do, but your fear cannot be the only thing this relationship is built around." Then I said the thing I had been avoiding. "I don't think love is enough here." She started crying. I did too, but I kept talking. I said, "I need warmth. I need partnership. I need to be considered before decisions are made. I need to stop feeling like I'm auditioning for a role that changes every week." She said, "So you're leaving the kids too?" I said, "That is not fair." She said, "It's true." I said, "No, What's true is that you keep making me responsible for consequences I did not create. The next day, Nolan texted me. I do not even know why he had my number. He said I was making things harder for everyone. He said Mara needed support. He said the kids needed stability. I replied, then be stable for them. He did not answer. Update 1. Mara and I are taking space. She says she needs to think about whether she can be with someone who does not fully accept her life. I told her I need to think about whether I can be with someone who defines acceptance as never having boundaries. Update 2. Her daughter sent me a voice message asking if I was mad at them. That broke me. I told her no. I told her adults were figuring things out and none of it was her fault. I meant that. The children are not the problem. They never were. Update 3. Mara says she wants counseling. Part of me wants to say yes. Part of me is scared that counseling will become another place where I explain why I deserve basic consideration. I am tired of proving that my needs count. I still love her. I miss the good version of us. I miss movie nights. I miss pancakes with the kids. I miss the feeling I had before every disagreement became a test of my commitment. But I cannot keep confusing endurance with love. I can care about someone's children without becoming responsible for every crisis in their family system. And I can love a woman without letting her fear decide the terms of my entire life. Maybe people will say I should have stayed. Maybe they will say dating a single mother means accepting everything that comes with her past. Maybe that is partly true, but accepting someone's life cannot mean disappearing inside it. And if one partner feels emotionally starved while the other feels emotionally exhausted, maybe the question is not who loves more. Maybe the question is whether love is still enough.